Saheed, who will be joining us on stage shortly, to welcome you and to give you, intimate you with more details about today's event and about the vision for this massive project. I'm sure when you walked in or when you were driving in, you saw how extensive, this space is and how much work has been put into it. It's been years and years of, work and planning, and today we are here. We are officially launching this wonderful estate in Lekki Aviation Town. If we can just have Honorable Saheed to please join us on stage as he gives his keynote speech. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not too busy, please rise up as we welcome the reason why we're here today. A round of applause for him, please. You can rise up. Honorable Saheed, your attention is there.
My brother and sister, so our father here, I'm standing on the system protocol. I want to use Almighty Allah, Almighty God, to welcome everyone to the breaking housing deficit in which we organize to solve one of the three problems Nigeria is currently facing. So our Reverend Father here today, the Hesunupe, may Almighty Allah continue to be with you. I welcome you and appreciate the support and the brother support you give to us. The host of the Longabit here today, the Halara of Ebe, may Almighty Allah continue to be here. Kabiesa, may Almighty God continue with you. Your Highness, Holy Michael, Your Highness Blesser, I welcome you to this event, just as I welcome the Kabiyesi, Ọba Lukman Gbadewolu Alaromi. Kabiyesi, you are highly welcome, sir. Your Almighty Allah continue to be with you people. I so much love and honor, and I appreciate the fact that you honor Nigeria, not me particularly, to join me in looking for solution to tackle housing deficit in Nigeria. Housing deficit is one of the problems we should come together to solve it. I won't be able to mention all the dignitary. I will not be able to mention everyone that joined us today. Some of our brothers and sisters that joined us from other foreign nations. May Almighty God continue to be with you people. I so much hope and appreciate everyone that supports us. I don't know how much I need to go to mention names, but I recognize the presence of our father, the national president of the road union, who has chosen in his privilege to be part of this system in breaking the housing deficit by joining the Newer Hope system with both programs. And also our father is here, the Senate Committee on Housing and Urban. May Almighty God continue to be with you, sir. I also recognize our father. We have our first senator here. They've honored Nigeria to discuss housing deficit here today. Everyone that come here to participate in this summit, may Almighty God continue to be with you. This is the starting of looking for solution on better way to address this issue. We are holding the 2024, by next year we'll be hosting something better in which we will be discussing better way to address one of the three problems we are encountering. The first problem we are encountering is inadequacy housing, in which I strongly believe the brainstorming today will surely get us to where we are going. And also the second problem I wish to join my fellow Nigerians to address has to do with the breaking the barrier of why and how we will be living the kings of Nigeria will be able to float our own national carrier. So I will be glad and also welcome the Yaloga of Nigeria, the daughter of the Nigerian president, joining us in discussing this. May Almighty Allah continue to be with you. I welcome my mother, my beloved mother, who happen to be the chairman emeritus to this company. I'm regarding hosting everyone today. You are highly welcome. To Mosadoluwa, Audullahi, you remain blessed. I welcome my in-law and I welcome everyone that can be here today. BRG, the Billionaire Return Group, I will be an ingrate if I could not recognize you people. Thank you, BRG, thank you, BRG, thank you, BRG. Your mighty God continue to be. You people are solving a lot of problems. The National Road Union Network, you will be here to honor our father. The MM will be the Almighty God continue to be with him, and we will surely appreciate his support in breaking the housing deficit. Thank you. I don't want to go too far. I don't even know what to say. I'm with the support and every one of the people I'm sitting around. Thank you, everyone. Bless us. Thank you.
Audullahi Saheed من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين. All praise, adoration, exaltedness, glorification are due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to have been able to gather here this afternoon with the threatening of the weather. Well, alhamdulillah for us to have been here in our country amidst the situation of economical challenges and our political differences. I commit this program in the hands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by reciting the very verse that Allah revealed upon Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam for him to have been able to conquer the Makkah after he had been outcast and subjected to serious persecution. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا ليغفر لك الله ما تقدم من ذنبك وما تأخر ويتم نعمته عليك ويهديك صراطا مستقيما وينصرك الله نصرا عزيزا. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا صراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Now we're going to have our keynote speakers come and address us, and we're starting with someone who is very important, whose remarkable contributions to the housing sector, including the formulation and implementation of a company growth plan, securing significant orders for affordable housing in Sierra Leone and Guinea-Conakry, and his expertise in commercial finance for housing projects. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if your hands are not too busy, help us welcome Mr. Fish Rogers. A round of applause as he comes on stage, please. Mr. Fish Rogers will be addressing us as one of our keynote speakers for today. He's from many miles to join us today. We appreciate your presence here.
Please give him a round of applause as he approaches the stage.
Round of applause, please. Come on, we're friendly up people. We're welcoming people, right? Thank you so much.
Such an important subject to address. I'm also thankful for everybody else, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and other panelists and speakers that have come. What I intend to speak today could be controversial at times, but everything I'm speaking about today is from personal experience. I've been involved in the construction industry for over 40 years. And in that time, we built many, many things. Schools, hospitals, apartments, buildings in general. Then many years ago, after the success that we've had in the UK, using off-site manufacturing techniques, I decided to go into Africa. I was invited to go to the Republic of Congo initially. I got off the plane, and as I stepped foot on the tarmac, I certainly felt an overwhelming joy that I had to be in Africa. I ran down the UK operation to concentrate in Africa because you have a huge need for affordable and decent housing. So things I tend, I've got very little time apparently, which is a good thing. But the things that some people may agree with, some people may not agree with, but I hope after this that there'll be a few things that I say that will just help the situation that you have. I know that you have a housing deficit of 28 million homes. I'd rather refer to them as homes rather than houses, because when a family go into a house, it becomes a home. So your 68 million people that you have a housing deficit for, that they are people that are in desperate need of a home. Now, you can look at general construction, and the reason that there's some issues, that your population last year increased by some 5.7 million people. Now, to look at that in context, you would need to build 7,200 homes every day, of every week, of every year. And to do it traditionally is very, very difficult. The problems that you have is manifold. The speed in which you can build is just not possible. The level of training and the requirement that you have is just not there. I build in other countries, and it needs a whole holistic approach to this to address this subject. Now, it's not the easiest thing. I wish I had the brain power to be able to resolve these issues, but unfortunately I don't. But what can happen as a collective team of people here today, including your Royal Highnesses, thank you, is that we may be able to come to a decision. We may have a decision that we can do. My passion is building, but I have an obsessive passion for people. That is the main driving force of everything I do, 7 days a week. We can build, but we need something because it's people. The issue that we have, that we've addressed in another country in Africa, is the government embraced what we were trying to do. I went to them and said, the interest rates that are currently available in the country are far too high. 97% of the people of that country, and it's the same for your country, will be unable to afford a mortgage. So we need to come up with a more innovative way of addressing that. And the issue is how much people are paid. It's as simple as that. It's the amount of training that's put in. We built in Ghana, and I took 5 unskilled Ghanaians, personally, just me, to build the technology, thank you, to build with the new technology that we can provide a house from scratch, the most dimensionally accurate house in Accra, within 3 weeks, which we did. When these people came, they had 0 skills in anything. Nobody had given them a chance. Nobody had thought to invest in their training. So the first thing I did, we sat down as a team, and the problem was, we're going to do that, sir. I said, don't call me sir, my name's Roger. Mr. Roger, we'll do that. I said, no, don't call me that. We're working as a team. I'm no different and no better than anybody else. It's imperative. If the people out there, you're in a position of responsibility, you need to invest in training your people. We also do not pay the minimum wage. I refuse to be drawn into paying the minimum wage. We assess what's needed for a person to live comfortably in every country we go to, and that's what we pay. Because those people then will have money to educate their children, they'll have money to live, they'll have money to take to the local community, to invest in the local community as well. So the local community starts to prosper as well. It's a small percentage of profit that is necessary to make this significant change. The other part being that unless we change, they will never be able to get on the property ladder. It's hugely important. People at the moment, and it's the same here as it is throughout Africa and some part in the UK.
The second session, the first session will be taken by Dr. Ruben Abati. The second session is on policy framework for affordable housing development and navigating home ownership amid economic uncertainties. That will be taken by Mr. Mosadoluwa from the MD of Inspiration FM. Again, I want to say thank you to the speaker, to all the dignitaries there, and thank you to my co-host Nancy for a wonderful job that you're doing. We are now ready to begin our first session. I want to encourage all participants to engage actively. Note down your questions and answer when the session is going on, or when the moderator is going on. There's room for swift networking during the breaks as well. Let's endure to make sure that we all have this decorum as each breaks, in between sessions, will not exceed more than 10 minutes. So together we all can work to shape the future of housing in Nigeria, and the future of housing in Nigeria is all in our hands. But before then, Nancy, can you please take the stage for the video?
Thank you so much, everybody. Now, before we advance, we'd like you to please pay attention to the screen as we show you in a little bit just a sneak peek of what Family Values Recreation Town is about. Please enjoy. Do we have ads? When I was born. Please stay on the screen now.
Distinguished captains of industries here, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Regarding the honor of Allah, we thank Allah immensely for giving us life and time. Because we are physically to be part of this very, very august occasion. As a foremost, I must express my profound gratitude to the great spiritual leaders as we are today. And without praying, we rest on the soil, the community, Nigeria. This is Honorable Dr. Audullahi Saheed Mosadoluwa, who is the Executive Chief of Managing Director and also Chief Executive Officer of this organization. I commend you and pray to Allah continue to guide you with the strength and will of God to partner with us in this very, very noble organization. I also express my profound gratitude to the esteemed members of your family, especially your parents, your father, and your mom, who are always behind you, with prayers and guidance regarding this very noble objective of providing, making housing available, sustainable, affordable, and most importantly, with the less privileged Nigerians. We know, our police told me, that housing for human endeavor is very, very important and significant and very, very necessary. Why I say that? Going by the history of mankind, when the old Stone Age man, when the man found himself in a big forest, the first thing he did was to feed himself, to look for food. And the second, a very important aspect of life, is to look for shelter. Shelter everywhere, from the beginning of humanity is very, very important. Going through our human efforts, what we are having today is by far going from high technology development, advanced technology in housing, whereby ordinary Nigeria will be able to make and have a strong shelter overseas for the him and his family. So this occasion is very important and requires all of us, who are here, and we also want to be part of this occasion, to continue to pray for this August occasion. We will pray for this noble objective of providing affordable accommodation, sustainable, and also manage the hands of number of Nigerians. I'm very proud of you, Honorable Saheed. You are doing a very, very great job. Thinking and committing your efforts with all the members of your team and contribute towards this event of objective. We will give you our prayers. We will pray for you. For Allah subhanahu to contribute to encourage you and your effort and commitment and everything you need to do to make this happen. This objective very, very realistic. This project requires a lot of money, a lot of participation, and prayers. We pray Almighty Allah to be able to guide you and you be aware of that. It's very, very distinguished and significant objective and for all us for a fun time to be here with us, we wish you Allah's guidance, guiding us back to respect the future and benefits from here, and also we pray that whatever contribution we have to make to ensure that we contribute your own water to advancement and achievement of this task before us. Please help. All of us here have initiative. All of us here have some good intention to do something positive for humanity. So please go ahead and continue your water. Inshallah, we shall succeed. Thank you and God bless you.
To guide us through the important discussion, we have an esteemed moderator who is well versed in housing and urban development issues. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ruben Abasi. He is a scholar in PR and communications, a distinguished journalist, a media consultant, a former special advisor on media and publicity to former president of Nigeria. Please let's give him a warm round of applause. Please, even though it's my husband. Hello, can we please give him a round of applause?
Your Excellencies, my lords, spiritual and temporal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, as my wife has pointed out, we're going to look at two issues together. One, affordable housing for growing owners, looking at solutions, and then building inclusive cities and solidarity communities around the creative zone. I have the panelists. It's my honor and pleasure to invite them. Mrs. Ishola Adeyemi, the CEO of Audullahi, Mrs. Adeyemi, please. Is Mrs. Ishola Adeyemi here? Okay, well, we're expecting her to join us on this panel. I also have Mr. May Christopher Lance. Mr. May Christopher Lance. Is he here? Mr. Lance is here. I have Mr. Biggie Doherty. Mr. Biggie Doherty is the MD of Gideon and Ajaron Global Concepts Limited. Mr. Biggie Doherty. I also have on this list Dr. Tony Kolawole. Dr. Kolawole is the chairman of the Real Estate Developers Association, Lagos. And then to join us is Are Dotun Azan. Are Dotun Azan. Is Mr. Nicolati here? Okay. Three panelists now. Are Dotun Azan, are you here? Okay. That's Mr. Nicolati. Get a house either by purchase or by personal construction. Even if you are earning the minimum wage, many Nigerians find it very difficult. And there are many issues here. Population is an issue, rural demand regulation is an issue, the regulatory framework is an issue. So that in 2007, the deficit in Nigeria was about 70 million. What we have been hearing today is that the deficit is about 68 million. That's a lot. But if a man becomes a man truly, then of course, we should encourage him to have a house. Now, without much ado, I will take my seat and then I will start inviting the panelists one after the other. And please, I'd like to plead with the panelists, try and make it brief. Let's go straight to the point. Well, we will start the inshallah. This is my question for you. What are the, excuse me? Yeah. We need a microphone for them. Yes, please, if you could bring them quickly. Now, Mr. Adeyemi, I'm going to raise a question of price. Cost is one of the major things for people who want to buy a house or who want to control or want to purchase or construct their own house. Now, how do we address the issue of price, of cost in construction? Particularly as the inputs are very expensive. Cement is very expensive. Granite, the cost of granite has gone up. What can we do to make the process happen? Here's the microphone.
And it needs to be taken seriously. You can't just make a policy without being functioning. So I believe the price control board needs to do more in stepping their game up to really make the policy efficient and really solid. Because without that, anybody can just make a product and put a price tag on it. I can equally make a cement that will cost me 1,000 naira and put a price tag of 20,000 naira, which is not right. Why my company can make a product as well that costs 1,000 naira and put a price tag of 2,000 naira to sell it off? So I think first the Nigerian price control board needs a proper regulation that is working and more efficient.
The developer tells you that inflation is 33.95%, and that he has no control over inflation, and he says the government should deal with inflation.
That's what I can say. We must need to make a policy that will work, that they will put in place, even when there is
Nigerians are always talking about foreign investors. So what do we need to do in Nigeria to make the housing sector attractive for foreign direct investment?
What do you say now?
The mic is off. Maybe you should study it.
Yeah, hello. Yes, great to be in Nigeria. It's my first time in Lagos. I have many Nigerian friends and people that I work with in London that I've known for over 30 years. I think for me, one of the good things that the UK has when it comes to property is there's an old saying that every an Englishman treats his home like a castle, and from a very early age we're all basically programmed into what we need to do to buy a house, and it's very clear and concise that we may need a deposit, what we have to do to secure a mortgage. So I think it's very important that in the culture in Nigeria, what you start doing is actually road mapping to everybody, young and old, exactly what they would need to do in order to obtain a house. And that includes what they would need to do in order to get a mortgage, how much deposit they would need, and really just making it publicise it and communicate it, and have a lot more factual information about the house buying process. That's what we've got in the UK. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Chairman Brennan Davis, we're in a zone where they have electric free zone, they have other opportunities in this access. Now, what do you think that needs to be done to make sure that we can increase and support developers to make low-income housing affordable within the access? But before you answer, let me call the keynote speaker, Mr. Fish Roger, to join us on this panel. But the keynote speaker, I was trying to summarize in and listening to him, I had some questions for him. Please go ahead, Mr. Dr. Tony Palawale.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Albert and Dr. Ruben Abati. Thank you, Harmony Band, for us at this great song today. It's wonderful. It's wow. Every one of us that day. So I believe what should be done should be in terms of the cost of material, the cost that we've got to material that she has addressed before. I believe this material, most of these materials can be gotten locally. Government will encourage that these materials are being gotten locally. Example, some of the buildings that we're building now, prior to this time, we normally import our tiles from abroad. But recently, we started getting them from here. So one thing I asked most of these manufacturers that are producing this is that the price that we are getting it supposed to be less than this if we have power. There is no power for them. They generate their own power to produce what they are producing. That means that what these manufacturers are producing for us, we can get it half of the price, which is affecting everything that we are doing as developers. Imagine in some hotel houses, 4-bedroom, fully detached is being sold for like 150, 160 million. We are not supposed to buy these houses more than maybe 80 million or 70 million. So it's really affecting us. The iron that we are producing, that we are buying, imagine, around 2020, we are buying a ton of iron for around 110, 120. But now, it's over $1 million for just a ton of iron, which is drastically affecting us. So we need the collaboration of every stakeholders to make sure that real estate is affordable to all Nigerians. And we at Reda, what we are doing now is that we are meeting the government, we are discussing with them all our problems, and we are coming together. We are an advocacy group, advocating for good housing, advocating for developers, so that if every stakeholders come together, the housing deficit that we are complaining can be solved. All developers' house must be on deck. They say we have around 68 million housing deficit, which we need up to 150 trillion to solve it. So that means that if all the developers are doing their work and every condition that need to be met are there, we will have this housing deficit reduced drastically.
Okay, very briefly, Dr. Kalawale. One of the major issues in the housing sector is rural-urban migration. Now, the urban areas are already overpopulated, they are congested. Now, what can we do? What will you advise government to encourage the emergence of new cities, new communities, away from the congested centers?
There is something I noticed. I believe the state governments, they can work hand in hand together. When you travel out, anytime you are outside, you will see that people in other states, they will be coming from Lagos, they will come from London to work. They are not even living in London. The same can be achieved here in Nigeria. There are people in Ogun State, they will stay put in Ogun State. Lagos state government can have partnership with Ogun State government and start, because in all those other states, lands, which is one of the things that is affecting the affordability of real estate in Nigeria. Lands are not as high as what we have in Nigeria. So Lagos State and Ogun State can come together, they can collaborate. When Ogun State give their land, Lagos State build. And if the roads are okay, you can be working in Ogun State and be working in Lagos. At the end of the day, you will go back to Ogun State. So this will actually reduce the urban migration or rural urban migration. It will reduce it.
Okay, thank you. Well, Mr. Fishroja is now with us. I listened to you earlier on, what you said about training, about technology, about finance, and how you constructed a building within 3 weeks. I would like you to speak to the innovative measures that can be used to make buildings more affordable and more accessible.
Thank you. It's given me another opportunity to cover areas that I never had an opportunity to cover on the keynote speech. Just addressing a few things. Number one is a way of further generating money for your country. What we do, we buck the trend. We could go to another country. We could go to China. We could buy doors there for $5 a door. What we don't do that. What we do is we give a specification to a lot of the cottage industries, 1 to 4 men companies. We go out to 20 or 30 of those, and we pay a premium because it's generating work for them. So it's not only generating work for the local community, it's increasing the skill base of those people as well. So we try and look at things not only just the way of driving down the prices of the houses, because we know we can do the cheap. We know we can do the good quality. We can build 20 houses a week with one factory. So we know that we've got the sustainability of it. The products that we use are green. We bring in the very least amount of product that we can. We use very, very little concrete. The technology enables us to buy from the countries that we operate in. So the majority of the building materials would be from Nigeria if we were here. The skill base, 97% of the workforce would be unskilled Nigerians that we would train, as I covered before. So for me, there's a holistic overview when you're talking about housing, affordability. The housing can be affordable
And as I mentioned at the keynote speech, it needs the vision not only of people taking less profit. We all need to make a profit. Everybody in this room needs to make a profit. But it's making a realistic profit, not at the expense of other people. And just further on to the chairman, on the financing, it is absolutely imperative, and I'm so pleased that the government and the Royal Highnesses are here as well, to give some real might, some real power, some real commitment to address this situation. The finance groups need to be, the financing institutions need to be pushed. They need to be pushed to say, if you really want to help your country, then you need to address the mortgageability rate. As I mentioned in the keynote speech, they have a tangible asset. It's not as if they're lending something speculative.
They went to America to develop a place called New York, and in their hearts, they said they want to make New York great. And it was based on just two things. The first that's required in a public-private partnership for this country, number one, is intent. We need men and women that have intent to build whatever it takes to build, to make sure that housing is accessible, Nigerians can live under roofs, not under bridges, and that people will not, with intent, derobe or cheat others. The first thing we need is intent. The second thing we need to make the public-private partnership work is self-will. That means that people need to be able to wake up and say, whatever happens today, we're going to add to the value of Nigeria. We're going to make sure that we're producing more in this country so that the question Dr. Abate asked about inflation will start to come down. Everything required for the public-private partnership lies within our hands. And all we need to do is agree as one people to say, it's enough. And that with our level of innovation, we will decrease our reliance on imports, and that we will scale up, and that we will use more of things that are made in Nigeria, even if they don't work in the beginning. But with this mindset and this intent, with people in leadership in the public sector, and people in leadership in the private sector, and with the blessing of our royal fathers, I know that the PPP model that works in America will make Lagos and Nigeria one of the greatest places in the world, even before most people here die. So that's my view, that's my point. Thank you.
Thank you. 1708, 79, was the decree something became an act in 1979. Now, for you to have access to land, it's a big problem. Even if you have access to land, it's a big problem getting approvals, getting governor's consent, and it's a source of nightmare. So what do you think that we need to do in Nigeria, both at the national and the subnational level, to make it easier for land ownership processes to be friendlier?
Thank you very much. With profound respect to distinguished royal fathers and all the present, well, it's very important to note that our major problem and the further link in the housing sector that has reduced us to less than above 70 million housing deficits as far as the country is concerned. We are just so mad by virtue of what we currently have, we are taking up to over 100 million. The reason has not far-fetched from the fact that we inherited a law from the military, and we are here to shed out that law. And that law has now become one of our biggest problems in the real estate sector, in ownership of land. Community ownership of land is not guaranteed. Even villages that have existed for 1,000 years cannot guarantee of their existence in their community in the next day. These are not far from the fact that
we have the Land Use Act of 1978. And that law, if not repealed and excavated from our constitution, we will still come back to the holding system of solid year in, year out without a proper solution. And thankfully, we must commend the current president of the country, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a Democrat. And he knows how much he raised the housing development in Lagos State. We want to first employ him as far as one of the solutions to look into the act in view of the fact that governors' right of ownership, of determining ownership via certificate of occupancy, must be looked at. Investors like Mr. Saheed Mosadoluwa controversially I'm a defender of the homeless Nigerians. I've been on the street fighting several human rights causes, all in the bid of demolition, all in the bid of where even if you have right of occupancy, government will still impose their right to overrun you without compensation. These remain investors' interest in housing policy. These does not even guarantee community synergy and partnership on PPP basis with the government. If government is to occupy or sell a community land, it is very important that the villagers there, the community heads, be called on. Having that pay, proper agreement is properly signed on JV, whereby the community will pay continuously, even if private investors are going to buy. If a private investor buy a land in this community now, it will pay over and above the triple of that price to government. But government will not come back based on the land user, will not have infrastructure. 1 inch of infrastructure will not be higher in terms of road, water, and electricity. Is that same investor that will have obtained loan from banks, had more burden upon himself, having gotten all this, who suffers? The buyer, the citizen. At the end of the day, citizens cannot reach the measure of buying or either rent. Government do not have proper policy on rent to own. This land use act, as you have rightly mentioned, I'm currently putting up a legal process in challenging some of these excesses at the moment, because government must share what their power in determining ownership. What government needs to do is consent, license, not to determine the ownership, because if government determines ownership, if you buy from a KBC now, so far the KBC gives you all right to document. That document remains invalid in the presence of the government. We cannot continue to sustain on that premise until you have a law interpreted in every language. Let that law be a national law. It seems the land use act is only for southwestern land. You cannot go to the southeast and do something like that, even in the north. There are proper coordination. And I want to implore our government that there is high time we put human face in addressing this issue. We have vast land in Badagry, in the event. Let government come with PPP with investors like Mr. Saheed. Let them see reason on how best to match finances. The private investors cannot do it on the alone. Most of the housing estates we have across might not be meeting that international standard because of the infrastructural deficit, cost of building materials. All these are where government needs to subsidize. And this must be effective with the legislative law. If it's not binding on law, it cannot be binding on investors. We want a new law that will regulate the housing sector, bring the traditional institution as part of ownership right, and that will guarantee investment and even common house owners that you're building, even if you build on a particular land, before you can regularize, before you can do everything into your house will not be demolished. And that is the area of my concern. Thank you.
Okay, we are abusing customary titles to land, and it was giving problems with regard to access. That's why Section 1 of that Act of 1978 says ownership of land is vested in the governor of the state. But the same governors also misbehave. To get a consent, the red tape is very critical. Do you think that consent should be decentralized? DG land, director in land, commissioner, do you think we should decentralize it so that they too can give consent, so that access to land is made easier?
We have to clarify. According to the land use act, they not only give, only enforce trust, not ownership in land.
Yes, it is in trust.
But the government has misconstrued that trust into private ownership. They took over community land on the premise of investment, and that land is not used for public purpose or public interest. It cannot be converted for investment purpose. At the end of the day, the investors will pay billions of naira. The investors will still be owing government, and government will not realize that what we need to do is to bring land regulatory licensing to the local government. The state do not have anything to regularize. It's only the local government that is within knows that this land belongs to this family. This land belongs to this family. Mr. Governor will just come from an outside house, come into a particular family, maybe debate them, take over the land, without proper legislative guidance. And my own concern is the fact that the abolition of that law is a must. Upon the abolition, there should not be a proper land licensing authority act that will only give, you only need to pay license. Whatever you are buying, you the community will, even if government needs a land in our community, let them pay for that land. Let them regularize and pay interest. The ground rent they are collecting and the land discharge must also be shared within the community. Because when everybody benefits, the unneeded crisis that we are rightly mentioned, like there was no repugnancy to the customary ownership of land. It was not as a result of the whole measure of invasion of crisis within communities, which is still happening. And it's global issue, not excluded to Nigeria alone. But what we can do is to appeal to Mr. President, because the review of land, as far as we are talking, is not premise on the power of the state to regularize this. It's only the National Assembly that can review this law to centralize.
That this is a big subject in faculties of law. They ask you, should the Land Use Act be reviewed? And you are now a traditional chief, so you have to protect people's ownership of land. But I'm going to wrap up this session very quickly because time is past time. And I want to come back to Mr. Adeyemi and just briefly, because we need to give people an opportunity. We're talking about price control, okay, as a way of managing inputs in the housing sector. Now, there is a price control board, as we pointed out. There is a Price Control Act of 1977. But that price control board does not function, which is why Kemi Falana SAN recently threatened to go to court to enforce the Price Control Act of 1977. And then government has done so many other things. They have the refinancing mortgage facility. They have they say if you have a building that is less than 15 million naira, you don't have to pay equity on it. A number of measures introduced by the Nigerian government. Let's see that the thing has not worked. Cost is still going up. So what else can government do? Even if they control price, it will not work.
We need a functioning policy. I think that's the only way. It might not be the only way, but that would be a start. Because if you have a policy that is not functioning, so what's the essence of the policy? And I believe no matter how bad inflation is, there should be a limit to our product prices skyrocketing. And the only way we can get that is to have a functioning price control. Because you can't just wake up one morning because there's inflation. A product that you are selling or that is worth 10,000 naira, because there's inflation out there, do not put a price tag on it for 100,000 naira. That is not done anyway.
because you know you are going to get into trouble. Why you do that? Then secondly, we as people, we need to, I think it's high time we embrace and support our local production products as well. Because with that, I think the inflation problem will be reduced and the policy can be made work.
Working in partnership with people that claim they own land, and the documentation looks as if it's land owned, and then unfortunately 6 months into the bill, you suddenly find that 3 other landowners also own that land. So there's a huge risk for an investor, a huge risk. So there's a high degree of scepticism in the UK and in Europe for investing into Africa, unfortunately. I mean, overall, I've had some bad experiences, but the bad experiences have been overshadowed by the good experiences. So for me personally, and when I'm dealing with investments, etc., from the UK, I generally try and work with the government of the country that we work with. So that's the only thing that I would say. There's a degree of scepticism about investing because of corruption and the fact that people double selling plots. And when you're trying to get investors to invest in schemes, the figures stack up, but after 6 months and then somebody else comes to retain that land, there's a massive problem. So I hope that answers that question.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ruta. Well, at this point, I would like to make the microphone available to the audience. We will have 1 or 2 persons who would like to raise any question or make comments. Yes. Chief Barrister.
I can actually address the issue of inflation and fluctuation in kind of living materials. The second aspect is the law governing land use, which by history we practiced 2 authorities already. One, community leaders, the national institution, according to the authority to issue land, which has some tail legs and abnormalities. The second one is the authority by the government at local, state, and federal level. And all those ones are things that we have some shortcomings. So how do we address these shortcomings? And my solution is that let us divide this authority into levels. Domestic level and industrial level. Where we have a project that is purely domestic in terms of use of land, very important to community leaders who are basically. And when we have industrialized development plan to develop our land or to develop any program, I think that we can hopefully so the level of the government, both state and federal, coming to big collaboration. So by this arrangement, you can see check and balances. The domestic will be checked by the government, and also the government will be checked by the domestic. Depends on which of the project you have at hand. So I believe if this is put forward and deliberated upon very exclusively, we will arrive at certain level or stage of managing the authority. The state will balance powers to issue land out for use. If it's domestic, let it go to the community leaders, special institution. If it's above that level, from installation and evaluation and development of the area, and big companies coming out, factories, whatever, let them be handled by the government, both state government and federal government. Thank you, Mr. Mosadoluwa. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Highness.
That we deal in Lagos, we always take land as the only mineral resources we have in Lagos. But that is not the issue. The way the governor is dealing on land is the same way governor is dealing on oil and gas. We need a regulatory law that will be domesticated. And that is why I'm appealing that we now have an opportunity for a restructuring of this constitution called 1999 constitution. As far as that constitution still remains Decree 24 of Abu Salami, I'm not always proud as a lawyer to sign the constitution because I'm more or less caged under a military toga. We cannot be pretentious about our problems. And the area we appeal through the National Council of National Affairs to please put up a legislative demand, sit with the president to please that we want to be regulating land because the governor do not know how to resolve land issues. They are only interested in collecting money. And once they collect, the governor can issue 3-4C of O on the same land because they don't have identification processing. And they don't even have database, no audit. So the best way we can do this is for the ownership to be reversed back to the community. Let the community now solve for investors. Once the investors come, whatever comes out of it, government only needs to equally, for us to have land, to reduce deficit now, government needs to now invest in partnership where if the investor is bringing 30%, government investment through subsidized contribution of cement to build the gutter, to build the railroad, to build the railway, even the aesthetics in those estates should be government duty because the estate will still come back and pay land use charge. I am appealing that we cannot solve it through one size fits all. All hands must be on deck to review this challenge. And I must appreciate our Highness for bringing up this. And I will still want to put it through you. You are more at the upper launch to helping us through the cabinet of Ife, through the members and through the Nasilo, we can do this together and we'll be able to chat. The people, I'm the Secretary General of Nigeria ethnic nationalities in the whole of the country, over 407 ethnic nationalities. We've been dealing with several issues in this country. And one of my fundamental issues, it might interest you to know, my coming to this stage today was as a result of confrontational issues we had on land. The owner of the estate, Minister Saheed, is a very good friend now. But we came at a crossroad when it becomes how to determine ownership. And I told him, now the governor collected over 90% of land, released 10% for family to go and share. Over 150 families will now enumerate their ancestral land, worth over 20,000 hectares. They give them over no less than 350 acres to now share. How do you think we can get justice on this? We will kill ourselves. Two families will sell land for one person. We will continue on this journey. Let us collectively rise together in solving this by talking to Mr. Governor, in resolving this issue by releasing the land to the community. Even if investors must come, let the KBACs and the community collect 50% of that money. Let them also gain benefit. And when the land use tax is paid yearly, reversionary interest of 50% must also come to the community. That will reduce unemployment, it will reduce the money crisis that Owo Foundation, Owo ceiling. Even if you are painting your house, will still come. So this will be solved until when we abrogate that law that is called land use tax. And we have community land licensing authority. Thank you very much.
I see how very passionate you are this time. You say the one has the result. I think the federal government has also helped you to resolve that other one, the Lagos Calabar expressway, because you came on television to fight for that too. Anyway, quickly let me talk to you, the doctor, for you to respond to Chief Wole Alishepa. That's Dr. Kulawole.
Okay, what he had was on, is it the tax or what?
It's a question about tax and housing.
For government, I believe that we still need to work in hands with the government. Because the government cannot just come and the good law. We, the real estate developers, we have to sit together with the government to solve the issue at hand now. Imagine for our estate, we are paying what they call IDH or what? ID's infrastructure development charge, IDC. We pay this money on all the units that you are building on your estate. At the end of the day, we are not seeing this infrastructure, and we pay this money. So it's really it's affecting us greatly, which every one of us, we should collaborate and make sure, because if there is no collaboration, like what I said then, we can't solve all these issues. We can't just say we want to fight the government. We have to sit together and look at it. Look at where this is paying us. If you charge us for this, let's see the infrastructure that you are providing. On my site, the first site built by my company, we are the one that did all the roads that leads to that estate. We did the road. So at the end of the day, we have to put this money that we use to build those infrastructure, the road and the drainages, we have to put it on the houses that we are building. So people are saying affordable houses. We can't have affordable houses if infrastructure or the money we are paying for tax, let's see those money being put to use by the government, and all this will be solved.
Well, as we begin to wrap up now, very quickly, Mr. Bingado, we would like to say one or two words about some of the other issues, and then we close the panel.
Thank you, Dr. Hati. I think this panel has been a phenomenal one, and I really appreciate the questions asked. But see, everything in life has a framework or a strategy. And when I was speaking, I used two keywords. The first one was intent. The second was self-will. Everything that every single panelist has spoken about, without the willingness and the intention of people to execute, nothing will happen. Hence, we're referring to a pricing control board that has no effect because the intent is low. We're speaking about a developer that has to build the road into an estate because the government isn't building it. The intent is low. And people going on and on and on. But the key that we need to remember as we're developing is that we as Nigerians, not just the government, but we as Nigerians need to also make a demand on government to say, well, we have paid these taxes, or we have voted for you, or this was your promise when you came into power. Now execute it and put aside other partitions. We need to think about being intentional, being willful, and learning. Remember how America became great, how India became great, how an Indian is the Prime Minister of the UK, how an Asian is the Mayor of London. These things are done by intent and by people coming together. So as long as there is division in the populace, we cannot experience exponential growth. So my words again to all, let's have the intent, let's have the self-will to come together, and we will build Lagos and Nigeria to world class. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Shamsuddin. Thank you, Dr. Kolawale from Brennan. Thank you, Mrs. Adeyemi, and thank you, Mr. Lance. Thank you very much, Mr. Roja, and thank you, Ududotun Hassan. I think with that, we've come to the end of this panel session. I want to thank you very much. Please, let's give our panelists a round of applause. Okay, well, maybe you should keep the applause going. Let's keep the that bus going and to take a group picture.
And innovative strategies discussed today, I believe that we are moving closer to bringing the housing effect to a better solution. Please join us in the next session where we will continue to explore sustainable solutions for housing. Before we proceed, let me also acknowledge my co-actors
Even that we're expecting it, because I don't know the reason why they are responding that people need to, but the morning is good. But already it's good. And on behalf of the executive I hereby unveil this project for the Emirates for the benefit of all members of our country.
Musa is working. Oliver is working.
Executive National President of Road Transport and Employer Association of Lagos State Branch Employer Association of Nigeria, our amiable Chairman of Lagos State, Oba Suleiman Raji Onibayeku, our mother, Iyalaja of Nigeria. They are so all present here. Members of National Executive Council of Britain, members of Britain nationwide, we are grateful for our patronage, for being here, for being supportive. We are thanking you, everyone, and we pray that every one of you will go back home safely as you come here. Amen. Our members nationwide, before we hand you over back to the Deputy National President, Ambassador Abubakar Bishara, to read the the address and speech of the Executive National President of Britain. Thank you all. Please bear with us. Just 5 minutes, we'll be done. God bless you. The address of the Executive National President, I will read it directly. His Excellencies, marks the realization of a dream, a testament of our unwavering commitment to provide equality for all individuals and the general positive. As we gather here, we are not just opening a door to any work. We are opening a door to a new opportunity, a new beginning, and a brighter future for many families. This major cottage commission to the Emirates represents more than just a plot, bricks and mortar. It embodies our values, our vision, and our dedication to enhancing quality of life for our members and the general
added value to the development of Lagos State so that it reach the dream of African best city, in line with the federal government housing policy and the renewal of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR. Britain have strived to align its initiatives with the national agenda of providing affordable, accessible, and sustainable housing. This estate, Metropolitan Emirate, if completed, it is a reflection of our vision, and we are proud to contribute to the broader goal of a national development and prosperity. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have made this grand launch possible. To the dedicated members of our organization, whose support and commitment have been unwavering. Thank you. Our partners, contractors, and all stakeholders, your hard work, collaboration have been instrumental that will bring the future of this project to reality. This Lekki aviation town, Metropolis Cottage, Metropolis Emirate, is designed with a future in mind. It incorporated modern amenities, green areas, and community facilities that foster the sense of belonging and well-being. We have been patronized sustainability and environmental responsibility, ensuring that this development not only met the needs of today, but also preserves the possibility of tomorrow. The new settlement of Metropolis Cottage, Metropolis Emirate, welcome to our future. May those homes be filled with joy, laughter, and prosperity. May it be a place where dreams are nurtured, where families grow, and where communities thrive. As we celebrate this achievement, let us also look forward to the future with and determination. Let us continue to work together to build more homes, create more opportunities, and make a positive impact in our societies. Once again, on behalf of me and my entire members of Road Transport, I really thanks Dr. Saheed for his well effort, concern, in supporting us to achieve this. Once again, thank you all for being here today. You have preserved, signified the importance of this occasion and the collective commitment to our shared goal. Today, let us build a future that is bright, inclusive, and prosperous. Thanks. That is the message. Abroad! Super! Abroad! Abroad! Of Nigeria. What your place?
Yes.